Jerusalem Artichokes. They're good for the heart. Now, Jerusalem artichokes are a part of the sunflower family. They look very much like sunflowers. They have a smaller flower. Some of them get really huge. I mean, we're talking some of them that get up to 15 feet tall. Now, they're a tuberous, rhizomous, perennial vegetable. Not to everyone's taste, but they are quite nice. What you're after with a Jerusalem artichoke is this. This was a particularly good one. I was a little bit sporadic with how I put my Jerusalem artichokes in the ground. I just threw them in. And what I tried to do is I tried to create a little sort of semi-physical barrier between where I chop up the timber for the fire and the wood stove and the rest of the forest garden. And my theory for this was it would basically, I could dig it up every year and it's hard to get rid of, so it will grow back, but you know, I'll get a little bit of a crop out of it. Now, it has been quite successful, and I've got to say, it is a very nice vegetable. You know, you can clean them off, use them in soups. What the French do is they like to sort of skim them into slices in salads, or use them in soups. A lot of people prefer to use them in soups, but the bottom line here is they can run a little bit of amok. You don't want to put these anywhere that are going to get too invasive, but you know, I want to stress something here. And I've got a friend, and he's got loads of woodland. And he worries about things running amok or being being control. Look, if you're in a situation or a homestead and you've got a forest garden, you probably already know just how much ground there is. Yes, you don't want things to go and invade everything else, but globe artichokes are just a good way of ensuring you've got a little bit of carbohydrate in the ground, just in case things go wrong in the world. You know, who's to say, if you've got a big established patch of this stuff, you'd be amazed how far this would go over the winter months when there's not a lot of food around. So I think this is a very important plant to grow in a homestead or just have somewhere wild. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to divide it. I actually want more of this stuff, so I'm actually going to take these roots, some I've eaten, and I'm going to plant them in between a corner of the hedgerow where it's too shady really for everything else to grow above a certain height. So my ethos here is the heavy roots of the hedgerow will stop it from growing any further out and spreading, but it will give me a crop out of that area, which pretty much at the minute is, I mean, it's not doing anything for me. So there is a place for this stuff. You know, you use the height to get the sun's energy down into the ground in places where, you know, if you are worried it's going to run amok, put it there. Or if you've got a steep hill in a woodland, plant it at the top of the hill, or the bottom of the hill rather, somewhere it's not going to easily move around. If it worries you, personally for me, I would want a forest of 2 or 3 acres run amok with coppicing, wood systems for fires, and perennial vegetables. I can just, so much I can't harvest it all. That's the ideal situation for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant a few of these and show you some of the bits I haven't dug up yet. I don't think they're going to be that fruitful, but just to show you what sort of thing you're dealing with the globe artichokes. Right, so we're in the corner, the shady corner, where the roots of the hedgerow should hopefully contain the globe artichokes, and I've got a little pot here full of these tubers I didn't eat. You know, a little point about these as well, keep them in the ground if you want to store them. The minute you take them out, they wither. Trust me, in this weather, anything will wither. But I'm going to be a bit rough with these. What I would advise with these is try and prepare the bed a little bit, dig a bit of compost in, but for the sole purpose of just trying to see how resilient and hardy these things are, I'm just going to slap them in. Just dig them straight in the ground and see what happens. Best way to sort of learn with these things. But you know, if you want to go all out and really get a nice, if you really like the taste of them and you're not just using them as a quick broadcast, trying to fit in a little bit of extra food into the homestead or the forest garden, then probably give them a little bit more care. But today I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to slap them in just for showing you lot really. Nice and rough now. So it's not bad soil here. You see, this is the thing. That's one. It's said it gives you wind, right? Now, I thought, how bad can it be? Now, I like a baked bean, I like beans, I like all these fibrous sort of things, you know, I grow them, they taste great, I like to cook with them. But I tell you what, it is definitely worth a mention. I have never, ever, ever experienced the delights that artichoke can bring. So please, you have been warned. Right, now, whoa, I grew these pretty rough last year. That is not too much of a bad harvest for just literally throwing them in a hole, you know. So imagine what's capable, what's possible if you actually put them in a bit of decent soil or a raised bed. Raised beds are probably a good one for this, but not bad. That's just one shovel, you know. You can soon get a decent crop, even though the tubers themselves don't really rival potatoes. They're not a bad crop at all. Not for the middle of winter. Not complaining with that at all. What's that? You got wind?